DJ Dubas.
And DJ Neko.
With you on the Metal Town Radio podcast. Doing another movie review. This time we are doing, I believe it's this year, 2023.
It is. It's 2022, I believe.
Yeah, so it's real close, but it's The Menu.
So this is probably going to be my last video before I leave, so we watched it just a second ago, and we're just kind of like, we want to get it out because it was so interesting, this movie.
Directed by Mark Mylod. Cast is Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Fiennes, Nicholas Hoult, John Leguizamo, and Judith Light, who I just found out. I knew she looked familiar. She played the mom on Who's the Boss.
Yes, you didn't realize that?
Did not tell afterwards. So, but it was cool, seeing something like that when you grow up watching those shows. The plot is a young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises.
So, to start off, before we got into any major plot points or anything, I am not going to call myself a foodie. I just like food. And I like trying weird food. Like, when I travel, I always try to pick up fancy restaurant and street food. And, you saw the lunch bill the one day in Singapore. It was $120 just for me. Singapore is very expensive. But what was really nice about where I went, it was a selection, it was like a buffet, but they were preparing things at the same time. So what I really enjoyed was I got a little taste of different types of Singaporean food. But then there's also cafeteria style things that I went to when I was there, and fast food type things as well, where they don't even take credit cards at all. It's $5 and you're here and they give you a box of food and it's delicious. So before we even got into the plot, everybody's getting ready to get on the boat to go to this island. I said to DJ Anubis, I really want to do something like this. I really want to get fancied up one night and, you're going to have to put your nice shirt on and we're going to have to go out and we're going to have to, nice. that's your fancy shirt. I was because I like trying unusual foods, and as they're presenting this menu, they're taking frozen seawater with the scallops and the mussels and this and that and rocks and flowers from all over. So granted, it's not something where you might actually get full from, even though it's 6 courses. It's very interesting. But after watching this movie, I don't know if I want to go and do something like this.
Well, obviously, you've got these people that are very rich or at least wealthy. Yeah, very pretentious. Food critics. So they're all gathered here, and as this menu, Chef Slowik has come out. That's Ralph Fiennes' character. Mm-hmm. And he has, it's over a period of probably 4 hours or something. That's at least the time.
That's what he said. Every night dinner is 4.5 hours, and they're normally not finished until 2 a.m.
Yeah, so as you watch the movie, and we're not going to be giving away a lot of spoilers because it's so new, so we have to be very cautious about how we navigate through this. But as the night unfolds, certain things start to unravel. And you get really, when it comes to the it wasn't really, he was kind of messing around with the topic of Taco Tuesday. So once that starts coming around, make sure you're paying attention to the tortillas, because those start to unravel mysteries about
and then why these people have been chosen for this night.
Right.
What also kind of I'm going to just say it. I really like the movie. There's so much trauma that is bleeding through this movie on so many different people and so many different levels that's how you build up to the, finale. But what I really liked is this is a renowned chef. He's more than just a chef. He's also known for the way he creates a menu, and that's why it's called The Menu. And it's more than just, course. Each course he's always done has become almost like a performance piece, and he kind of takes that during this movie to another level. It's not just okay, well, this is this menu and this is this, and he takes it and really, because he's like, he says in the movie, you know, he's lost the joy of being a chef because of these pretentious people. They come and have these expectations, and they come and they you know, pick at his food, every little tiny detail. And it's, you know, you can see it from the very first course, especially with the critic, which is Judith Light's character. No, that was the other woman.
Yeah, there's a Bloom lady that's an actual critic. But yeah,
when they're talking about it's over tweeze, like, because they put everything in like a perfect place. Oh, anyway, go ahead.
But like the menus, like when he starts unveiling these menus as we go along, they actually have like little funny ingredients, so it's kind of funny. Just make sure you're paying attention to everything,
because there's like little subtext and everything.
It gets funnier and funnier as the night goes on. There's one individual in here who
is played by Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna necessarily do that.
But my bad.
Yeah, so she's not supposed to be on the list, so she's almost like the fly in the ointment.
Yeah, she's like a last minute addition because
don't say why.
No, I was gonna say Tyler broke up with his girlfriend,
right?
And he took her instead. Right. So when they come to be, you know, sat down, they're calling her Miss Westbrook or something, or
well, yeah, that was initially when
at the beginning, and she's like, "You're not her," and that's the chef realized that, and he was like, "You're not supposed to be here.
Well,
you're not Miss so and so."
He has like a lead lady named Elsa who is signing them into the boat when they go from shore to the island, and then she notifies Chef Slowik that the person that was supposed to be on the list isn't there, and they have a new guest. So he's kind of Slowik's keeping an eye on Taylor-Joy's character, and he has actually dialogue a couple times where he's talking to her privately, like, "You're not supposed to be here."
And who are you really? Like, why are you with him? And
but the interesting thing about all this, and I caught this as the movie goes on, is that what starts out as like, I don't want to say so much terror with some of the customers, it almost becomes like by the end they've acknowledged everything that's going on.
They've acknowledged why they're like scum, like, because literally, like, you see bits and pieces of these people, and it's one evening, so you're not getting like full backstories on people, but you see these bits and pieces of why,
and they do a good job without drawing the movie out too long. They don't sit there with a lot of character development. You know what's happening because it gets explained, but the director isn't boring you with like another 20 minutes of each character's backstory.
And some answers are just funny, like you know, like the assistant to John Leguizamo, like she's just kind of like there.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes is in top form here. He's very good in the role. You and I, we said one thing, and that this movie kind of reminds us of is it's almost like Midsommar in some ways.
The pacing is very similar.
Got twists and turns, and a lot of weird shit that goes on.
Yeah, that's the other thing is there's one at the beginning, just like Midsommar, they're doing like a tour of the island, and this is a private island, and then you go into like the quarters, and it's like 12 beds all in a row on each side, which is very similar.
This is the chef's
crew. It's all the chef. Yeah, it's all his assistants and his sous chefs. They all live there together. They all work together. You know, they're harvest together. They're a team, and they get up early. They work. They prepare. But it's literally like a room, and it's like 12 beds and 12 beds. And that was when we first said this feels like Midsommar, because that's kind of like how it was in Midsommar. Then you walk past the chef's cottage, and nobody's not allowed over
there.
No.
Can't go in chef's house.
Can't go in the chef's cottage at all. So these little, I guess, feelings, this ambiance of the movie, it's nothing like Midsommar. Like, it's a whole different type of story. But these little like themes, kind of vibe, it gives you that same kind of vibe. You're like, wow, this is really odd. But these very wealthy people are paying $12.50 a plate to come have this very
That's
unique
$1,250
to have this very unique experience that the chef curates. And one person who was there, he and his wife had been there 11 times. And the chef actually asked him at one point, "You've been to the island 11 times. Can you tell me one meal, one course that you had the last time you were here?" And he was just so irritated because
I think his point of that was
they just don't appreciate it.
This rich couple just did it because they could.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do it because they wanted to.
And at the beginning too, if you remember, when they're giving the tour of the island, the wife and husband are like, "Oh, we've already been on the tour multiple times. We're just gonna go in." And like they're excuse me. Wow.
So yeah.
Let me get a sip. There's very many different levels of pretension. So we have this older uber rich couple that they're just like, we have money and we want to do something because we can.
We got the critic and her representative with them.
With the magazine.
John Leguizamo plays like a semi-washed up actor who is still trying to cling on to fame. He's got his assistant with him. The
purpose for him to be there, I'm sorry, was he is, as you were saying, clinging on to fame. But his new pitch to these streaming services was he was going to do kind of like the Anthony Bourdain thing, where you travel the world and go critique food, experience food. So that was going to be like his first, maybe an episode, but he wanted to take this experience and take it to the networks. You had those three douchebags.
The three guys, they're like bro dogs, and they are working with the guy who actually finances
and owns
Chef
the
Sluggs.
island.
Yeah, he does that. But they're tied in, and there's some stuff that they're involved in that is the reason why they're there. And then, of course, you have Taylor Joy, who's there with Nicholas Hoult, who plays Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like a massive fan of Sluggs who loves food. And he's such,
the stuff that he says, like, he's very pretentious and...
Yeah, it's
what I mean.
It's well acted. It's very well acted.
And
even the ending, I just thought that was such a nice.
It was cute and clever, kind of.
Yeah, very clever.
I found it interesting. This was also kind of like a Midsommar vibe when she being Anya Taylor-Joy, her character, she was tasked to go get something, but because she's just like, there's crazy shit going on during the meal,
she wants answers
and she's curious and she wants to get the fuck out of here too, but there's like one boat that goes there and back. So she started snooping around, and when they got to that room where she starts looking for a way to communicate with the world, since they're stuck on this small island, that room felt like that house in Midsommar. If you remember, like,
yeah.
So we're not saying that this is a story anything like Midsommar.
Yeah,
don't think it's
don't mistake it's like exactly like it. But if you're gonna see, the vibe is similar. It's just similar in vibe.
That's all we're saying. It's just like a similar aesthetic. It's a similar
There's like this cult-like thing going on with the chef crew, and
that's what it really did feel like. They were all like in a little cult. They were.
Because they were very obedient. I mean, he would slap his hands. And
yes, chef.
They're like soldiers, and you'll find they're pretty interesting too, because, as the shit unravels, you're like, how or why are these people like even going along with this? But there's reasons for that. Mm-hmm. And so definitely don't want to give too much out. Really, really enjoyed this.
I'm 2 thumbs up. What do you give it? What are we doing, out of 5 or out of 10?
10.
I'm not going to give this like Maverick level, but I'm going to give it like an 8. Like, I would watch this again, even with knowing everything that happens, because the fun part is unraveling the mystery. Mm-hmm. But I would watch this again because before I watched this, I had heard some reviews on the movie, and I didn't know anything. I just heard like their take, and they were kind of saying some similar things, like it was a mystery. There's, things going on the island that you don't know, blah blah blah, and I was kind of told you have to kind of watch everything. So I really paid attention, because a lot of times I'll watch something, I'll text, I might like read an article and watch, or read a book and watch a movie. Did not do any of that. Anytime I needed to be distracted, like if I had to get a refill, or if I wanted to get up, I'm like, pause it. Or if I wanted to, we like to, when we see a character or an actor that we recognize, I'm like, pause it to see like if it was who we thought we were, because I wanted to try and pay attention to everything, and I'm sure I missed some other clue.
Well, this might be something like I personally give it a 9, and but I would actually own this. This is a good film. This is something I would watch over, and that's for you and I. That's really what it comes down to, is rewatchability. Some films we've seen that we say, okay, it's decent, but it's not something I'd watch ever again, probably because it's just not quite.
I think it needs to be like a 7 or higher for it to have rewatchability.
Yeah, well, there's films, and I may end up. It's kind of a surprise. I have to wait for NECA when she gets back, but I think I'm gonna go out and search it out if I can find it. But it's an older film, but it's not a film that's like on this level in terms of production, but it's a film I know her and I both enjoy a lot. So think of like Sidekicks, like it's going to be along that kind of lines, where it's just fun film, and like so I want to do a review for that, but I have to go and find it.
Find it first.
Yeah.
Well, I got to spend 3 months at sea.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of times when I'm away, the ship will get movies, and the last time it was Barbarian and Don't Worry Darling, and I was like, because I knew we both wanted to see both of those movies, and I like would message him, did you see this yet? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. We still have like, what's the movie I watched and I didn't know that you didn't watch it? I watched it on the airplane, and
the Kurt Warner one.
The Kurt Warner story, Underdog. You have to see that, and I'll watch it again. It's very sweet. I
mean, there's other movies we still need to get around to watching, but it's on the holidays. You got back in November, so like
I've been home for a minute. I've been home for a month and a half, and I'm leaving Friday super early. Like we got to be out of here at like 4.
Not quite at 5, I think.
Well, if my plane leaves at 8:20, I need to be there by 5:20. You have to be there 3 hours ahead of time.
Okay, by 4. No traffic, at least.
I'll double check to see what time the United, because after the United terminal may not even open until 6. So if we get there because some of them stay open 24/7, others do not.
Yeah. Anywho. Thank you all for checking out this review. And sorry we weren't gonna give any spoilers, but we
take care of my man while I'm gone, please, and entertain him, give him stories, make him happy.
Oh yeah, and the Cinematic Synergy I'm doing with Kevin Lambert, KLE Entertainment. So we'll be working on something in the next couple of weeks for our first episode review. So be looking for that as well. All right, everybody. Stay metal.
I'm going to miss you guys. I'll be back probably end of March, early April.
Yeah, I'll keep up updates for you all. All right, all. Take care. Thank you.